Buongiorno a tutti, salamu alaikum.
Good morning, everyone. Salam alaikum. My name is Matteo Bordone, and on behalf of Acimga, I would like to welcome you all to our Future Factory Streaming Roadshow. And this the stop of our roadshow visits Egypt. This fall, we introduced our first two stops in Turkey and in the UK. In December, we will have the last two stops of our roadshow. Today is Egypt. In 2021, we will get together on the occasion of the Print for All conference. And I have to say that this roadshow was a very fruitful initiative in order to foster dialogue and communication with key stakeholders. Thanks to Acimga and thanks to the 4.0 industry concept with an eye on environmental topics and also the current state of the art of printing and converting industries. 2020 has opened doors to this new normal. It was a complicated year, and we decided anyhow to reach out to different countries through this virtual event. The collaboration with institutional stakeholders is of the essence, and I would like to give the floor to some institutional representatives. So I would like to introduce and thank the chair of the Foreign Trade Institute in Cairo City, Mr. Pagnini, and then Mr. Pagnini will introduce the next panelists.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really, on behalf of the Italian Trade Agency office in Cairo, I'm really happy to welcome all the Italian and Egyptian companies. I know there are many today to this webinar that is jointly organized by Acimga Association, and for this I thank its general manager Andrea Briganti and the Italian Trade Agency in the framework of a really long-lasting collaboration. I would like briefly to greet our guests from Italian institutions in Egypt. First of all, our economic counselor Paolo Palminteri, and then the vice chairman of the Italian-Egyptian Chamber of Commerce, Francesco Cordano. And then I would like to thank our important Egyptian panelists that are with us today, with which we normally have a strong collaboration. Dr. Christine Tadros of the Industrial Modernization Center, Dr. Nadim Elias of the Chamber of Printing and Packaging Industries. Both these institutions really gave us a huge help in order to have so many Egyptian companies with us. Then Dr. Salamoni of the General Print, Dr. Tarel Khalil of Abu Auf, and Dr. George Nubar. Before giving the floor to our counselor, let me thank all the staff from Acimga and from the Italian Trade Agency in Italy, my colleagues Rossella and Chiara, and my colleagues in Cairo, Riham and Menna, that did really a great job. So before giving my brief speech, I give the floor to our first counselor, Paolo Palminteri. Paolo, please.
Thank you very much, Francesco. Good morning, everybody. I'm really pleased to greet all the participants on my behalf and on behalf of the Italian ambassador in Cairo, Gianpaolo Cantini, who is at the moment attending another meeting and therefore could not personally participate in the webinar. I would like to congratulate the Trade Agency and Acimga for organizing this webinar, for organizing the whole roadshow, and especially for focusing on Egypt. which I think is a country that can offer a lot of opportunities for Italian companies, especially when the subject of sustainability is involved. The economy, the Egyptian economics proved to be extremely resilient, even to the current crisis. Egypt is going to be one of the few countries in the world with a positive GDP growth in the two fiscal years, 1920 and 2021. This economic resilience and this continuously GDP growth matches with a huge growth of the population. There's a percentage of 2.5% of annual growth. The Egyptian population is esteemed to reach to 160 million people by 2050. This creates a huge challenge for the government, who is in the process of building some new cities, 14 new cities. Some of them are almost finished, some are on the process, some are to be started with the preparation for building them. But one of the main themes regarding these 14 new cities is their sustainability, to create smart cities with sustainable transport, with IT at the state of the art, and also with sustainable management of waste. These are very important themes the embassy is focusing on, especially, I would say, the sustainable mobility. There are many Italian companies that plays in this field, and in the transition from the fuel, from diesel to compressed gas, in order to use compressed gas in urban mobility, as well as liquefied gas for long transport of maritime transport. Apart from these, the embassy has been focused on this new technology for sustainability, and it has organized 2 events in 2018 here in Egypt, in 2019 in Italy, together with Ecomondo, promoting all the technology for the sustainability, for circular economies, waste to energy. More in general, I would say that the opportunities for Italian companies in Egypt arise from a very favorable attitude of the Egyptian businessmen towards the Italian colleagues, Italian counterparts. The Italian technology is very much appreciated, and it's widespread in many sectors. And I would say that the Italian business model is very much appreciated, and we record a continuous interest from Egyptian company in having Italian equipments, in having Italians as partners for accompanying their growth. For all these reasons, I deem that this webinar would raise a lot of interest in the Italian participants as well as in the Egyptian one, and I wish a fruitful job this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paolo. So I connect to what you said about the dimension of the market, in order to give some ideas about how it is important, the Egyptian market, for the sectors represented by Achimga, so printing, graphics, converting, packaging. I would say it is a crucial market for our companies. As you said, Paolo, a country of more than 100 million people, with a extremely high rate of growth of the population, where the products and applications of the graphic printing industry reach directly almost all the segments of the population. So crossing over food industry, agricultural goods, pharmaceutical, cosmetics, printing press, and so on. So in Egypt, there's really a huge demand of goods, a demand that in a great part is satisfied directly by local production. And this, of course, implies growing opportunities for those companies all over the world who provide technologies, solutions that are employed in the production line, in the production sector in Egypt. Briefly, the analysis of the trade data show that import of Egypt from the world of machinery for graphics, converting, printing, and packaging is steadily growing. I would say in a sort of anti-cyclical way. In 2019, import of Egypt in these sectors from the world increased by 22% and totalized a value of around 200 million euros. Italy exported in 2019 to Egypt in these sectors 15.5 million euros, growing 5% with a market share of around 8%. But if we look at the first 9 months of 2020, in spite of a light decrease of Egyptian imports from the world, imports from Italy scored really a great level of 16 million euros, growing 63%, exceeding the total value of the total previous year. So 9 months in 2020, more than all the imports in 2019. More in detail, the sectors that scored better is machinery for finishing paperboards with a rise of 90%, book binding machines almost doubled, other machinery, the voice for those who are in the sectors, 8441, almost quadrupled its exports to Egypt. And then printing machinery, more in general, which is the most important voice, increased by 6%. I must say this is an important sector, and we tried really in the last years to help our companies with the constant activities for companies together with the Italian Trade Agency and the Chimga. In the last couple of years, we recruited almost 50 Egyptian companies involved in incoming missions to Italy, mainly to IPAC, IMA, and Print for All. Then another aspect, probably Italian companies know that in Egypt, in Cairo, there are some very important international fairs organized by Egyptian associations. Just to mention, the next week, there should be 3 international fairs in Cairo. One is Paper Middle East, then Print to Pack, and then Pack Process Middle East. In January, should take place DG Design Africa, and in June 2021, the international fair APEX, which is Arab African Packaging and Food Technologies. Let me say to conclude that from the critical, sad experience that we are living, we have learned how to find new ways to do our job. This is valid, I would say, also for trade promotion activities. We are experiencing new ways to participate or to help companies participating in trade fairs around the world, giving our companies the possibility to create networking, to develop contacts by remote, organizing B2B meetings in virtual modality, also in occasion of international fairs. So this is something that is done, I would say, zero cost operation for companies. It is definitely more sustainable, allowing anyway to create and maintain contacts and activate business. So I conclude our office is available to receive suggestions, proposals from association, from Achinga, but also from companies, and give assistance to companies interested in the Egyptian market. That's all for me now, and thank you for your attention, and I wish you a fruitful participation to this webinar. Thank you very much. Actually, I don't end because now it is my pleasure to introduce and give the floor to Francesco Cordano, which is the Vice President of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Egypt. Our two institutions have a very, very strong collaboration in many sectors and in many activities. So, Dr. Cordano, please.
Buongiorno a tutti, ringrazio.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank the chair of the Foreign Trade Institute and Mr. Palminteri. I'm glad to participate to this event in representation of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Egypt. And this institution has represented the country for over 90 years, and it has always contributed to the thriving of trade relationships between our two countries. We've always been active throughout the current pandemic. And the interpreters apologize, but the audio, the sound is choppy, I'm afraid. As stated, Egypt, during this emergency, hit a positive GDP growth, perhaps one of the highest in Northern Africa. And this was due mainly to increased exports, especially in the food industry. We've always fostered infrastructural development plans over the past 9 months, and this has contributed to the growth of our economy. Inaudible. We're now collaborating with small and medium enterprises in an attempt to build new sustainable and industrial cities around the country, as the previous speaker said. And we are pursuing an effort in modernizing investments, and this is mostly based on digitalization processes.
qualche modo evidenziato e per noi è molto importante.
We believe this is of the essence, especially moving forward.
Unico.
And we decided to launch a new project. We call it a single help desk service in order to cater to the needs of companies interested in both imports and exports. And this would make it possible for applicants to submit paperwork to a single entity that will be designated for liaising and obtaining all approvals and permits that, as you can probably guess, these procedures are very time consuming in Egypt as well, and they require a lot of meticulous attention. Another important element is our attempt at reducing the processing times of goods that are imported to Egypt ports. Inaudible.
A un minimo di 8-10 giorni.
Goods typically stay in incoming ports from 8 to 10 days, and the digitalization process will enable to streamline this timeline and will make it possible to expedite the entire procedure in order to shorten the lag time. And we would like to shorten it down to 4 to 5 days. In other words, we wish that in a week, imported goods can be better managed and reach the final destination. The previous panelists mentioned that the relationship between Italy and Egypt is a consolidated one across many industries and across many areas.
Rilevanza nei rapporti economici a livello mondiale, certamente anche in Europa.
Egypt and Italy are very well positioned on the world scale.
Due parole adesso.
And allow me to say a couple of words about sustainability, sustainability and the printing industry, and also packaging solutions, which is the subject of this webinar. Inaudible, I'm sorry, the interpreters apologize, but the audio, the incoming audio from the speaker is barely workable.
L'obiettivo della Camera dell'Industria.
The goal that we're trying to pursue is to align the printing industry to the concept of sustainability. There has been a slowdown in production, mostly related to the generalized halt of the school sector. So suffice it to think about books, manuals, and school materials. So this has taken a toll in terms of production. But at this point in time, we're really putting emphasis on sustainable growth and development for this industry. This is very important because obviously education is paramount in Italy, in Egypt, and all over the world. So there are actual possibilities for partnerships, and there are a lot of opportunities for knowledge and technology transfer. The Chamber of Commerce has entered into a partnership with Achimga, and one of our members signed an export agreement in order to export paper supplies. And this is a recent partnership. And I think that this is excellent because it's a very positive trend. So I would like to thank the chair of Achimga, Dr. Briganti, and I also would like to thank the Italian embassy and the Italian trade agency with whom we are working on in a seamless fashion, and we are constantly promoting exchanges between Italy and Egypt. The Italian Chamber of Commerce is at your complete disposal. And today we're launching the new website that will enable us to interact with businesses, with company representatives, and with all of our members, as well as with all the companies that are part of the Italian as well as Egyptian economic systems. And we're sure that this will strengthen dialogue between our countries. So once again, thanks very much, and I wish you a fruitful proceeding. Thanks very much, Francesco. So I would like to give the floor to Mr. Bordone. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the Italian Embassy, the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Cairo. So we can now start our webinar after the institutional introductions with the General Manager of Achimga for greeting. So good morning, Andrea Briganti, you have the floor. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank the institutions and the organizers making all this possible to talk about the topics on which Achimga wants to promote the Italian technology abroad, as well as to develop knowledge at the local level, at the Italian level. In the field of digitalization. Achimga is the Association of Manufacturers of Machinery for the Graphic Converting Industry. It represents all technology, flexo, printing, rotogravure, rotor printing with laminating machinery, printers, and all machineries involved in printing. It was set up in the aftermath of the Second World War, and today it represents 60% of Italian turnover of the industry. We expected this industry to experience a downturn by 16% compared to previous year, which is due, of course, to the pandemic and to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we look very much forward to new perspectives, not only thanks to new ways of thinking about the business, but also thanks to sustainability. And this is something very important together with the other aspects. Achimga is part of the Carta Grafica Association, also representing Italian printers, and also paper manufacturers. Together we are developing projects in sustainability and also circular economy, and we have set up a federation involving the two supply chains as a very practical federation. I've mentioned the need for our industry to develop its international mission. involving important strategies. And we have presented at the Drupa Trade Fair, which is, as you might know, the main trade fair for printing, which has been postponed to 2024. And in April 2021, we are going to have a virtual edition of this trade fair. This is a very important conference because we will be able to talk about these topics. You're all invited to this trade fair in a mixed format, depending on the pandemic. And then in 2022, we're going to have an Innovation Alliance project in May 2022 with, again, another important fair, also joined by representatives of your country. In the past, I try to be very, very brief so that to allow for more time for the other panelists from Italian and Egyptian speakers. Thank you very much, Andrea, General Manager of Acimga. Let's move on to the heart of our webinar. I learned something very important from Acimga, that the more interesting part is actually getting to see how all this works in practice. So let's start with sustainability, with a company which is one of the most important companies in this sector. It was set up in 1963. It has a 50-year-long experience, 500 employees around the world, 8 plants, and 4 subsidiaries in China, US, India, and Spain, 130 million turnover every year. And so I now give the floor to Sergio Villa, the Export Area Manager of OMIT, presenting the green side of OMIT. Mr. Villa, are you with us? Good morning, welcome back. So you have the floor for your presentation. Thank you very much. Good morning. It is a pleasure to join you for the 3rd leg of this roadshow. It is a real pleasure for me. Let me start my presentation with our motto, with our slogan. It isn't a simple slogan, a casual one. It was really thought over for a company working since 1963. It is innovation with passion. The growth of our company happened through product innovations, through quality, passion and efficiency. So we really work very hard. I also wanted to show you this slide and the next ones to provide some evidence of how we, in terms of plants, because we are machinery providers, we have around 2,000 machineries around the world, mainly in Italy and in Europe, but also in Africa. To provide you an overview of we have machinery in Reykjavik, we have machineries in Cape Town. Another slide that provides evidence of our main partners, customers that we provide machinery to. They're all major corporations in the printing industry. I think that my presentation will show what we have learned from this current situation, because OMIT already 15 years ago started to implement solutions, technologies to reduce waste. Mainly because this allowed for cost savings, also for our customers using OMIT machinery. So I won't be talking only about machinery, but I will cover several topics which that those who are interested among you may have the chance to, may want to talk to our experts about them. Now, the narrow web sector is traditionally dominated by UV technology. OMET was a forerunner because also with this online machinery presented printing machinery for flexo printing, water-based and solvent-based machineries, both as standalone machinery or combined or working in combination. Yeah, at the Label Expo 2019 edition, we were very proud to show for the first time a fully working machinery where it was a water-based ink roto flexing machinery. Now, this provides a lot of benefits in terms of cost, operating costs, but and then the water-based doesn't need for solvent-reducing components or incinerators that will be needed for solvent-based ink machinery. OMET was set up in '63 for converting tissue paper. Now, tissue paper is extremely light, napkins, for instance, and so up to 16 grams per square meter that we can turn into 700 at a speed of 700 run for meters. So these challenges were transferred then to the printing industry, where we're able to process extremely thin materials and rather complex ones. Moreover, with water-based inks, but also upon request solvent-based inks, we can recycle hot water, again leading to cost savings, and in case with coal foil case, we also have saving systems allowing to save materials and therefore costs. Now, in the previous slide, I showed you the UV ink. And for drying these inks, we, as well as using the UV mercury-based technology, we are now using LED technology. Now, this technology provides several benefits. For instance, on-off times, extremely quick, the lamps lasting longer, 20,000 hours operating time against 2,000 hours. The single diode can be changed, and you don't need to change the whole lamp. And then you pay based on consumption. So there are no standby times areas. Now, it's clear that machinery users with UV LED-based drying systems allow for large savings. Now, OMET is a leader in machinery design. R&D starting in 2007, started to deal with environmental issues when we wanted to introduce new machinery. Thanks to our X6 machinery of 2007, we introduced for the first time a short paper cycle, so a reduced amount of paper in the machinery and therefore less waste, a more reactive machine, responding to the operator's instructions. We also patented a system, a vision system, which is able to simultaneously and automatically adjust the machinery without any intervention on the part of the operator, therefore making the intervention of the operator himself redundant, useless. Then there is this very interesting cooperation among several companies. We were also awarded by for this the core line solution, the liner, the silicon-based liner through lamination performed with OMIT machines is turned into a film, top film. So in the same loop of the liner, of the coil of the liner, we have reduced waste, and thus we can reduce costs for transport. Thank you so much for your attention. You have information here in case you want to ask any questions now or later on. Thank you so much and enjoy the next presentations.
Thanks very much, Mr. Villa. And let's continue on with some other case scenarios with our Italian representatives. So we're really appreciating the journey somehow, which is a constant journey towards sustainability in pursuance of 4.0 sustainability goals. And I'd like to introduce the now carbon technologies. They deal with air handling and also recovery of pollutants. It was set up in 1922 by Luigi Activecore, which was the founder of the Now Carbon, and set up the first solvent recovery system. And the rest is history somehow. We have Mr. Giancarlo Melogli today, sales manager at DCT. Welcome back, Giancarlo. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So take it away. Thank you. Okay, if I can have my slides, please.
Benissimo, siamo qui per parlare di...
So, we're here today to talk about sustainability, and sustainability is of the essence at DCT. First of all, we shall not pollute. And if you think about flexible packaging solutions, a lot of solvents are used. And for that matter, solvent recovery and exhaust gas handling units are needed in order to satisfy customers' needs. You see this plant, which is an active core based recovery system. It is partitioned. There is an absorption section with these giant tanks called absorbing units, and they contain active core. And then we have another section, another partition, which is called regeneration unit that extracts solvents. Solvents are then accumulated in a storage tank to be distilled and purified in order to be reused in production at the best possible speed and under the best possible circumstances. As we said, we use a lot of solvents in our industry, and these solvents are contained in inks and adhesives, and they're also added during manufacturing processes in order to deliver the right viscosity and the right density parameters for the printing industry. Why is this the best possible technical solution? Well, because we can stop VOC emissions and we can recover solvents that are used in the printing or coupling processes and to reuse them during production. This means that we can stop purchasing solvents and we can boost company profits as a result of that. Why should should we opt for a solvent handling and recovery plant? Well, first of all, because we're going to reduce emissions, we don't have to purchase solvents, and this would contribute to profit increases. And there are a lot of advantages related to circular economy because solvent life cycles are shortened. We no longer need trucks and lorries that transport them throughout our premises. We don't need storage tanks because solvents are immediately recovered and used for manufacturing and production. We are no longer exposed to fluctuations in solvent pricing policies dictated by market dynamics. And there is also competitive edge because we know that big corporations prefer to turn to green companies that cherish the importance of the environmental footprint and sustainability. There are two ways to regenerate active coals. The first one uses steam, and this technology is used whenever solvents are used, especially those that are not that soluble in water, such as octanes. So, and these solvents are used, toluene is used, for example, for rotogravure in the publishing industry, whereas octanes are used for the production of other goods. So solvents used in the packaging industry are partially soluble, such as ethyl acetate, or fully soluble, such as alcohols. For that matter, we need to use a different technology, such as nitrogen-based regeneration. This is a typical flowchart. I'm sorry, but we can't see the slides. This is a production flowchart, and we have a printing section, so production, and alongside that there's a network of pipings that connect the tank for solvent recovery and the rest of the equipment set. Active coals absorb solvent, and during the regeneration process we can extract solvents from active coals, and then we can send it to the distillation unit. The distillation unit is the core of the plant because we can retrieve solvents having a sufficient quality to be reused. In this section, we can see an example of a plant that was set up in China a few years back. Thanks to this distillation unit, despite the fact that the client uses multiple solvents, it is possible to obtain ethyl acetate, whose quality is top of the range. And then we have an alcohol separation unit that makes it possible for us to use it for printing machines. The only exhaust or waste product is this set of substances, inaudible, that can be resold because there's a market demand for these agents. Whenever we want to embark on this journey, we have to consider airflow from the printing machines. Printing machines have a recirculation circuit, and these circuits can reduce the outflow and the inflow, and they can reduce the quantity of solvents. This is amenable to two main results. The first one is that the plant will be smaller. The second would be decrease in operational costs, because we would end up using a lower quantity of solvents, and we will increase the coal capacity to absorb solvents. In other words, the quantity of solvents that we can extract from each regeneration process is higher. Once the airflow is perfectly set, we start with project design and the solution and the selection of the best suited technology. Some clients require pure solvents quality-wise. Other clients instead use solvents only for printing purposes, hence the quality standards are a bit lower. These projects can be easily funded, unlike printing machines, because every time you want to set up a printing plant, you need to consider the saturation capacity of the newly purchased machine. This plant instead, this infrastructure makes it possible to reduce operational costs, hence to save money. As we like to say amongst ourselves, €1 saved is €1 earned. This slide summarizes a case scenario of a client with 3 rotogravure machines, 1 coupling machine, and established a design flow rate for SRU plant of 75,000 cubic meters. Yearly solvent recovery equals to 1,800 tons per year. With this design, it is possible for the client to recover 1,650 tons. So you see the total capex, 2.6 million euros, and you can see at a glance the actual savings. So the buyback for this technology fares around 2 years. So it is it's profitable on the one hand, and it is really a streamlined solution also in terms of capex. I'd like to talk about this technology of ours. So this solution makes it possible to deliver solvent recovery also for those converters that don't produce a lot of solvents. Obviously, the higher the quantity of solvents, the higher is the buyback parameters. I'm saying this because we can recover solvents also for those clients who only have 1 rotogravure machine. So we can concur on the fact that this solution is very interesting because clients with high consumption rates of solvents have their own solvent handling plant, whereas this one is a different type of market application, if you will. This technology makes it possible to deliver modular solutions and to assemble them in our workshops. And you see that they're fully wired from the electrical standpoint. Top left, you see a skid. The skid is the resting platform for absorbers, and they're typically positioned in the front section of the skid. The skid is then placed in a lorry or put into a giant case to be delivered to the destination point. And then assembling is very easy. You see there is a small boiler, and operational costs are very low. So the boiler is a compact one, and the chiller, which is used to condense and cool down solvents, are represented there. Bottom right, you see the coal that we use in our plants. We have some references on the slide. Unfortunately, we can't see the slide, I'm afraid. So this was set up by a client of ours who had 100,000 cubic meters unit, a thermal unit. And this is a parallel solution. So we have the combusting unit, 25,000. Then we have the solvent recovery unit. Solvent is then fed back to the manufacturing or production unit once the solvent has been treated and ethyl acetate has been separated. We installed a similar plant in Ethiopia. The Qualable company is very well versed for sustainability. They have 1 printing rotogravure machine. They have a little a little problem in procuring solvent, and so thanks to this infrastructure, they became fully autonomous. And they fixed all of their solvent delivery issues. This is another infrastructure that was recently set up in Italy. This is 50,000 cubic meters per hour. So it treats emissions from two rotogravure printing machines. In this picture, on the right-hand side, you see a skid with molecular sieves that are used to dehydrate solvents in order to reduce the quantity of solvent waste that can't be reused in the production line. And here we have a gallery, a picture gallery of traditional plants. Top left, you see a plant that was installed in South America, and this client has an annual consumption rate of 4,000 tons. And so net of operational costs, you see the earning per year, so $3.2 million. Investment decisions in this regard have to consider the payback time, and this is a guiding principle when it comes to decision-making processes. Once the plant has been fully paid or repaid, what's left is profits, but mostly. Below that one, you see another plant that was set up in Chile. SLA flow rate 150,000 cubic nanometers per hour, and you see the earning per year, $2 million. Below that one, there's a Croatian plant, 100,000 cubic meters per hour, and 1,500 tons per year with a total earning of 1.2 million and a payback time of 3.5 years. In the top right section, you see an interesting plant because this is used to recover MAC from the machines used for silver foiling, used for Roquefort cheese. And that's the only plant in the whole world to recover MEK, so ketones. And this obviously is conducive of significant profits. This is so $4.3 million earning per year, with a payback time of 1.5 years. And then we have Russia. Russia decided to purchase several solvent recovery units over the years. At this point in time, there are two in Russia. Over the course of the past 2 years, the DCT has installed 12 solvent recovery units, and these units have performed quite well. So even 25,000 cubic meters per hour. So the solvent recovery units are no longer a prerogative of big size converters, transformers, but also those who have one or two rotogravure machines can think about installing and setting up a solvent recovery unit. The payback time depends on the solvent volume. So if the plant is 25 cubic meters per hour, for example, face value, and it's possible to recover 640 tons per year, well, it's going to take more time to fully repay the investment. We also have smaller size technologies and also bigger ones from 100,000 cubic meters onwards. In China, we recently assembled a unit that is recovering 3,000 tons per year. And this plant was set up in Hubei area, which is certainly known for the virus, for COVID-19 virus. So we are helping clients to manage the plant And this is very fruitful for the client because we are remotely monitoring and servicing this technology thanks to a software application. And I'm done, Matteo. Thank you very much. Well, thanks very much, Gianmario Melogli, Sales Manager at DCT, the Now Carbon Technologies, for outlining the various strategies adopted by DCT for solvent recovery purposes. Thanks very much, Mr. Melogli. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Let's continue on. And now we have Prades with us. This is an Italian company that has been working in the converting industry since 1983, gold converter of 3M since 2008, two sites, one in Padua and another one in Budapest, which was acquired in 2019. 26 employees, 8.5 million euro in terms of turnover, and in 2020 Prada started manufacturing their own products under the Platifix brand name. Prades is constantly committed to sustainability through the search of new packaging materials, and recently have invested approximately 500,000 euros in purchasing new machineries in order to embrace the 4.0 industry concept. With us today, we have Giorgia Magario, business developer at Prades, and Marco Magario, management board member at Prades. So take it away. Thank you.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna share my screen with you. So here we are. So thank you very much, Matteo, for your presentation, for your introduction to Prades. As you said, we are a family-owned business, which has started in 1983 with our father. We are brother and sister who are working both for the company now. The company has grown very steadily in the years since her creation. We have always been converter and distributor of adhesive tapes for industry, but then we have specialized in the flexographic printing sector since 1998, and we became the biggest distributor in Italy of double adhesive tape for this sector. So this is our biggest actually our core business, and we aim to expand our business not only in Italy but abroad as well, and it is for that we have acquired Flanker in Budapest just last year. This was a really big achievement for us because this allowed us to have a big growth in our turnover as well in 2020, even if it was a very difficult year for everybody, and we grow our staff as well. And we aim to become bigger year after year, not only in the flexo sector. We are partner of 3M, gold converter and distributor since 2008, as you said, and this was and it is as well a really big achievement for us. What we are doing in terms of sustainability, actually we are really engaged in this team, and we believe that the most important thing about sustainability in industry is to raising awareness between the employees. So is what we have done until now. We have created a plastic-free environment. We have raised the awareness between our employees, also with the separate waste collection, as in the offices, and in the production sector. We started a cooperation with a food delivery company which works with sustainable agriculture products and also does compostable packaging. So our employees are really happy with that, and we are going to continue that in the next years, as well as the continuous research of new low environmental impact packaging products like eco-friendly packing tape, in order to be ecological and sustainable in the way we pack our rolls for our customers. We have some goals as well for the next years, for the next 2 and 3 years. We want to completely remove plastic also in our packing production. So we have we want to start the next year cooperation with an Italian company as well for the supply of Mater B bags. I think that everybody knows what Mater B is. So this is gonna allow us to eliminate, completely remove plastic from our packaging. And we would like as well to to devote a part of our turnover to environmental initiatives such as planting tree, for examples, because to be sustainable is not only between us, but for the world as a whole. And the big goal for us in 2022 or 2023 maybe is to get to have a fully electric fleet as well, because it's important for the sustainability of our company. But now I will leave the floor to my brother, who is gonna explain you what we have done in terms of Industry 4.0 in the years now. Thank you.
So, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? I think you should. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to thank my sister for the introduction, and I want to excuse myself with all the viewers for not being as beautiful as her, but I hope I will be enjoyable as well. So, my presentation starts with this slide, which is Industry 4.0. When I joined the company 4 years ago, I started my work in the production. I started as a warehouse worker, and I worked in the production for 1 year and a half. So I could understand all the implications that a smart way of working has. So I'm sorry, I'm not sharing the slides. But yeah, I'm sorry, because I was seeing them in the excuse me. Now it should be fine. Okay. Sorry, everyone. So these are the slides, and yes, I was talking about Industry 4.0. This is, of course, a project that all the companies should have, in my opinion. And we already started this project. I am the project manager for this, and we already we have already started it. We bought 3 converting machines. One is a log slitter, the other one is a die cutter, a flat die cutter, and the last one is a laminator. And we also invested in a warehouse system, fully automatic, which was necessary because we didn't have any additional space in our warehouse, so we had to invest in this one. Of course, for the Industry 4.0, the requirements, I think that all of us know them. And it's the network implementation and the bidirectional communication between the machines and the management system of the company. This is, of course, possible through the MES. And we invested not a big amount, but a considerable one. In the development of personalized software for data collecting and analyzing. So this is what we have done, and what we are going to do is a little ambitious, in my opinion, because we want to implement all the machines that we have in the production system. So these are older machines, not new ones, but I made a study with an engineer, and we saw that it's possible to adapt them to the requirements of the Industry 4.0. So let's keep on with the presentation. As I was saying, we are going to implement 5 more machines. So all of our machines are going to be 4.0. My aim is to fully automate the production in terms of creating an ergonomic and smart way of working for our warehouse workers. And this is going to be complemented by the digital monitoring of the production, which now is happening in a way which is not so smart, in my opinion, but we aim to improve every day. And the aim is set to be done for the end of the next year. This, of course, will end also in an optimization of the warehouse stock, and which is, of course, consequential to the data analysis of the production. So this is interesting, but the most interesting thing that we want to do is to give the accessibility to all our customers of the data that we are going to collect and analyze from the production systems. This, of course, is not possible if the Industry 4.0 project was not available, because there would be no interconnection and all the data would have to be inserted manually, and this is, of course, not possible. So we want to create a dedicated area in an online platform for our customers, in which they can have a personalized order system and stock information and forecasts and live tracking of the order production status. So all the information that we acquire and that we analyze are going to be available to our customers. And this, in my opinion, is not a requirement of the Industry 4.0, but it's a great opportunity that the Industry 4.0 project provides the companies that decide to adhere to it. So the presentation is over, and I just want to remind briefly that of course, we are very grateful for this opportunity that was given to us to be present in this roadshow, and I want to say thank to Achimga and to all the people that are collaborating to this project in a moment in the world in which it's not easy to connect each other. We are trying our best, and I think that these initiatives are very good for all the companies that are participating in it. So thank you very much for the attention, and I ended my presentation.
Thank you very much indeed. Grazie mille Giorgia Magario, grazie Marco Magario.
Well, thanks very much indeed to both Giorgia and Marco Magario for outlining what they've done so far and what Prades has done so far towards the Industry 4.0 project. I'd like to switch over to CIMEC. CIMEC has 2 production sites, one in Olgiate Olona, nearby Milan, and one in Montefino, nearby Teramo, so on the Adriatic seashore. For those of you who are not that familiar with Italian geography, has been in business for 60 years, 18 million euro worth of turnover. The production yield fares around 12,000 rolls per year. They have been nominated by the Graphics and Paper Industry Federation as the best-in-class company for the 4.0 industry. So I'd like to hand it over to Sara Besnati. Sara?
Good morning, Matteo. So please, you have the floor. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm very pleased to be here for today's roadshow. we are very happy to provide our point of view for the 4.0 industry. For our company, this means codifying big data, new approaches to the market, integrated supply chains, and new forms of communication. All these concepts are part of the SDB, standing for CIMIC Digital Background. Together with our digital team, we asked ourselves what was the best way to talk about digitalization and innovation. And the answer was to provide a digitalized answer. So we prepared ad hoc content highlighting how our system can lead us to the future and safeguarding the environment at the same time. So Niccolò Latorre in this video will talk about the CIMIC world and introducing the people who are in charge of development at our company. So thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a pleasant and enjoy this video.
CIMIC Group was founded in 1960, and we never stopped growing and evolving. Nowadays, we export our products that are rolls and sleeves all over the world, and we also offer our life cycle solution designed to maintain them in the best way possible and to make their life cycle longer. At one point, we asked ourselves, how can we transfer values, experiences, and expertise to our stakeholders that are looking for innovative and smarter solutions? The answer was digitalization. We were sure this was the key. By digitalizing ourselves, we put in place a new way of doing business, our new way of doing business, SDB. SDB stands for CIMIC Digital Background. It is a system that involves every department of our company and that required organizational changes like factories re-engineering with lean techniques and their digitalization, as well as the automation of production processes and their coding. Over time, we have built an ERP in which we collect big data. This enables us to define an accurate identikit of customers around the world. Thus, we are closer to them and we are able to anticipate their needs and requirements. But let's go deeper inside.
When we speak of SDB, we talk about data, how to collect them, how to manage them, and how to combine them in order to get forecasts on customers' needs and to arrange production accordingly. But we also need to talk about digitalization of our premises, automation of our plants, and coding of the whole production universe, from machinery to engraving tools, engraving techniques, up to cylinders, through all steps of production cycles. But we also have to talk about traceability, because CIMIC is able to trace back the whole Anilux history, analyzing all steps. Therefore, you will hear my colleagues speak about data management, product customization, and performance analysis. These are the three pillars of CIMIC Digital Background that, combined all together, have allowed CIMIC to move from a more traditional and conventional reactive management of orders based on single orders of single customers to predictive management based on aggregate needs. This new logic allows us to predict and therefore to create some permanent stocks where cylinders are kept in stock ready for delivery. But to be of any real value, this should not remain a pure theoretical speculation, but should rather translate into benefits. Benefits for whom? For our customers, of course. Benefits, for example, the reduction of risks in Anilux selection, or a guarantee of repeatability of Anilux, always to get a constant quality of the printed matter, or fast deliveries thanks to our predictive warehouse, or still the possibility for our customers to access directly CIMIC database to get all the statistics concerning their Anilux and compare them with aggregate statistics of the same branch. So, if I was able to boost your curiosity, well, I'm happy to invite you to our SDB.
To manage data, we create a map for the customer's universe and we collect information about their structures, their machines, how and how much they use them, and the product they introduce on the market. By doing so, we are able to create an accurate profile for every customer and to identify their specific needs. In this way, we are able to produce rollers which perfectly reflect their needs, talking about qualitative, quantitative, and also time necessities. The rollers we produce are then built around their machines and facilities, and according to what they will be applied for, they are also tested and codified, and for this reason they will always be available right when needed. By doing so, we also reduce drastically the usual risks connected to the analog selection, their relative costs, and also the waiting times. How do we customize an analogs? To do so, we gather information about the industrial sector and the machines it will be working on. We mean that we study how to construct the roller, how to protect it from corrosion, the features of the ceramic layer, the finishing according to the doctoring system, and also the engraving technology. By doing so, we have then a reduction of both scoring line and ghosting, a reduction of the corrosion risk, a density which is constant during the years, and also a lower need of the cleaning the roller. And at the same time, we also lengthen the duration of this roller at work. But how do we manage to guarantee the repeatability of these specifics? We have codified all the processes, and for this reason, we are able to reproduce them exactly how we did the first time. Every analogs has a digital identity, and thanks to this one, we are able to keep track of every significant event, from the construction to every refurbishment, and then to the end of its working life cycle. So how did these analogs perform? Which was the time in between one refurbishment and the next one? Are we aligned with the aggregated sector analyses and timelines? In this case, are directly the factories which collect the data about the process of the production and also the specifics of the production. And they also transfer the data about the condition of the roller when it's sent to us to make it new again, and so for the refurbishment. And thanks to this information, we are able to offer the customer the same product again and again throughout the years.
How was all this possible? How this system has kept on evolving in such a progressive and constant way? Of course, thanks to the collaboration among different players. Today, the collaborations among the supply chain players are more frequently driven by commercial rather than technical purposes, and apparently the most user leverage to conquer the market is the price. Where is the will to offer a concrete benefit or to solve a specific problem? This is why the SDB community was born, to connect original equipment manufacturers, component suppliers, printers and brand owners, and create a technical partnership aimed at offering the perfect package to the end user, designed according to his needs. So, the aim of the community is to create a value-oriented market by giving to the buyer all the knowledge possible of the entire supply chain, integrated in each product marketed. SDB is not just Industry 4.0, it is also sustainability, especially the environmental sustainability. But can this method lighten our environmental footprint? Let me explain you why the answer is yes. As shown, a proper data management and a value approach to the market, the community approach, allows us to settle the analog specifications based on the end user needs. So we deliver a product that doesn't require any more preliminary tests or ink tests, because from the very first printed matter, it gives optimal results. This is how we actively participate in our customer production consumption, by reducing printing supports, ink wastes, as well as the energy they use. A short supply chain and a total control of each manufacturing phase allow us to select high-quality raw materials, drastically reducing production waste and implementing eco-friendly processes, for example, sealing with 100% natural sealants, and being also able to minimize environmental risks. This approach leads to the offer of high-quality, long-lasting analogs. They also require less maintenance and less frequent refurbishments. Accurate diagnostic and constant monitoring of analogs performance are an important preventive action aimed at maximizing Anilog's working life. It's with this goal in mind that we have engineered in-house cleaning machines with patented technology that are effective, eco and human-friendly. They are designed to maintain cylinders at low cost and low environmental impact. The liquid cleaner is also formulated to be reused in several cycles and disposed of without causing damage to the environment. We could also show you our second-hand guaranteed proposal that we think at sharing economy, but time flies and our has come to the end. No worries, we are at your disposal anytime.
Bene, abbiamo sentito e abbiamo visto le soluzioni.
Wonderful. So we've heard about CIMEC and CIMEC solutions, and now we're going to move on to Ferrarini and Benelli, an Italian leader in the field of the plasma and corona treatment. The company was set up in 1965. 55 years track record. F&B has been designing and developing corona treatment solutions. And we have Claudia Benelli with us. Good morning and welcome. Welcome back. So we're going to have sort of an informal chat about the corona treatment so that you can tell us what Ferrarini and Benelli does. Let's start with the corona treatment. What's a corona treatment and why is it so valuable? Well, first of all, let me thank you and all the panelists and the attendees. Can you see my slides? Yes, we can. Wonderful. All right, so let me just give you a short overview about what corona treatment is all about before getting into details about Industry 4.0 and digitalization. The corona treatment is a surface treatment that is carried out on the surface of plastic films to increase the surface tension and thus improve anchoring of the inks and adhesives in flexographic and rotogravure printing processes and as in lamination processes. It is important to treat these materials because polymeric films have a low surface tension, which doesn't provide for a good anchoring of inks, glues, adhesives, or other substrates. Each plastic film has its own surface tension, which can be increased through the corona treatment. The corona treatment consists of a power generator, a step-up transformer, a high-frequency step-up transformer, and a treatment station equipped with a fan for ozone extraction. The corona discharge is delivered by the electrodes that are positioned in the treatment station, and this discharge hits the plastic film surface, thus activating the surface and increasing the surface tension. But what are the applications of the corona treatment? The corona treatment sees two main applications, one for extrusion lines, so in the production of plastic materials, for example, blown extrusion, cast films, and rigid sheet extrusion. And the other domain would be that of converting, especially for printing lines, rotogravure, flexo, offset printing, coating, laminating lines, and also for extrusion coating solutions. And let me give you some examples. This is the typical positioning of a corona treatment for a blow extrusion plant. This is instead, it's a rotogravure example, and you see where the corona treatment is positioned here. Here we have a flexo application, And last but not least, we have the laminating machines application. All right, let's get into details and let's see what the main parameters are for applying the corona treatment. So, as I explained previously, the ultimate goal of any corona treatment system is to increase the surface tension of the film, which is measured in dynes per centimeter, and to increase the wettability and adhesion of the surface. The corona treatment does that by applying a certain power for a certain period of time on the surface. And this potency parameter is measured in watt density, so defined as watts per minute, and it is called potency density. So the parameters of the corona treatment are system parameters, that is to say the power density in watts, power delivered, the material width, the number of sides to be treated, as well as the speed, so the line speed. And then we have some process material parameters, such as, for example, the type of substrate, so the substrate composition, and the type of process. So let us focus on system parameters. And let me give you some examples. The applied power density is directly proportional to the measure of the power delivered in watts and inversely proportional to the measurement of the treatment station expressed in meters. So this means that in order to maintain a certain power density, if the width of the film doubles, well, we will also have to double the power delivered. Furthermore, we have to consider operating speed. So the higher the operating speed, the greater the power required to reach a certain level of surface treatment. And the speed has a significant impact on the sizing of the corona system, as well as on the choice of the number of electrodes that determine the discharge surface. Right, so all of these parameters will be monitored, I guess, in order to optimize processes and features and modes of operation. Is that right? Correct. In order to optimize the corona process, it is important to monitor and optimize all of these parameters. And for this reason, the corona generator is equipped with the following features. For example, power adjustment in relation to discharge electrode width. So in other words, the film width, automatic speed adjustment
alla velocità
according to speed itself, power density monitoring, and then we have minimum start or stop speed settings, auto start, skip treatment, that is to say treatment at time intervals, and the wet start feature, which is controlled startup for humid environments. And then we have a series of alarms and diagnostic signals that ensure correct operation of the plant, such as short circuit failures, over temperature failure alarms, a lack of communication, a failure of the power supply line, etc. Well, I guess that all of these parameters can contribute to the Industry 4.0 concept. In other words, how can you act on these parameters that you've just outlined? Well, with a view to integrating corona treatment control into production lines, it is important to be able to control a system parameters and functions for the corona system. For this reason, a remote monitoring and controlling of parameters and functions is essential in order to view, set and control these parameters from the PLC line. And there are actually several communication systems that can be used using different communication protocols. For example, Profinet, Profibus, Modbus, Ethercat, and analog system as well. So in keeping with the Industry 4.0 project, we embraced the digital domain. Profinet systems come with the advantage of bringing the controls and displays of the corona generator to the customer's line via single cable. So it is very, very versatile, and it allows customers to choose which parameters they only want to view and monitor. And lastly, if we look ahead, and if you look at the next future, what would you say are the key trends? What are you going to add to your current offering? Well, the future ahead of us is forthcoming, and it is digital and it is interconnected. And we will be able to have all these functions and features, including real-time data monitoring via portable devices like tablet PCs, laptops, and smartphones. And this will contribute to a more agile system monitoring process. And lastly, we are working on the cloud connection of any and all corona systems for real-time monitoring and diagnostic features, which can be conducive of data recording and data analytics solutions in order to collect and evaluate data and generate quality reports, and also to make it possible for our servicing help desk to cater to the needs of our clients in a remote fashion. And this is how we're going to proceed. So this is our way forward. Well, thanks very much indeed, Claudia Benelli from Ferrarini and Benelli. Thanks for outlining the company's activities. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. And now let's move over to the other coast of the Mediterranean Sea in order to give voice to our partners from Egypt. And in order to get a better understanding about the Egyptian market and the new trends in the matter of sustainability, I would like to give the floor to Christine Trados, Head of Industrial Modernization Center, Printing and Packaging sector.
Christine, benvenuta. Circa 10 minuti.
Christine, welcome. You have about 15 minutes for your presentation.
Do you hear me?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, okay. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Francesco Panini and Mrs. Rehem from the Italian Trade Agency in Egypt for inviting us to all the Italian events in Egypt and the Italian exhibitions. I really enjoyed Print for All from 2 years ago. Also, I would like to welcome all the speakers and attendees. First, I would like to give a brief about our organization. We are the Industrial Modernization Center. We are a non-profit organization under the umbrella of the Ministry of Trade and Industry. We give technical services to the industrial sectors, all the industrial sectors in Egypt. We approach all these technical services. We have 14 branches in Egypt. In every industrial zone, we have a branch. We have more than 13,000 clients across 12 industrial sectors. Also, we give sectoral studies and strategies and capacity building activities. We categorize the technical services under some programs. We focus on productivity enhancement, competitiveness, national industrial localization, energy saving, green economy and sustainability, information technology and automation, innovation, and B2B activities and training and capacity building. All these programs and technical services, we give them to our clients with a little share, only a share commitment to the services. I will give a brief about the printing and packaging sector in Egypt. We have more than 6,000 entity with $2.6 billion investment, working on them more than 300,000 employees. It's a big sector in Egypt. It's serve all other sectors, mainly the food and the pharmaceutical, with a big share and value add. These are the subsectors we serve in Egypt: the paper, carton, flexible packaging, rigid packaging, commercial printing, books, newsletters and magazines, stationery, printed works, and wallpapers. Also, this is an interesting topic today, that we also work with the automation and digitalization service providers in Egypt. We need your help to transfer these technologies in Egypt. These are the important topics we want to cooperate with your institution. That is digitalization and automation solutions, design, production, and management applications. The new Italian technology in printing and packaging sector, like I enjoyed the green printing and packaging presentation, Corona treatment application, 4.0 industry solutions, the technical trainings. All these services, we can fund them through the IMC, our organization, with the help of the Italian institutions and organizations and companies. So we want to share the knowledge and how can we make this work in Egypt. Also, we need to increase the study tours for the Egyptian companies to discover the new Italian technology. One of our services are the in-company expert. We can make use of your intelligent experts in Egypt. We can fund them to the Egyptian companies. We also want to talk about the joint venture. How can we cooperate together? The maintenance service, you know that almost the printing and packaging machines in Egypt are Italian, like Shruti and Bugust. We don't have a maintenance services in Egypt. We don't have an office for the spare parts and the maintenance. Also, we want to talk about this. How can we cooperate together? Also, we can cooperate for a joint venture companies in manufacturing of spare parts and molds, because we are in need of the Italian know-how. Also, we need to cooperate with, if you have a model for the Italian packaging center, really we are planning to make a big packaging center in Egypt. We don't have this packaging center. So if you have a model for this center, we can cooperate together. Also, Mr. Panini mentioned at the beginning of the session that you want to cooperate with Egypt in the B2B activities. IMC is the arm of the ministry, and all the exhibitions in Egypt for the printing and packaging and other sectors, we organize the B2B activities in all these exhibitions and also the workshops. So all of these questions, I want to answer and brief about how can we cooperate together and increase the share between the IMC and IT in Egypt. Thank you.
Grazie mille a Christine Tadros.
Well, thanks very much to Christine Tadros. Thanks very much for being brief and to the point. I really appreciate it. So let's hear the voices of the other representatives from the printing and packaging sector. Nadim Elias, Vice President of the Chamber of Printing and Packaging Industries. Can you hear us?
Yes, I still have the slide of Ms. Tadros in front of me, so can you remove it, please?
Yes.
Va bene, we'll try and fix this as soon as possible.
Perfect.
Here you are.
No problem, it's okay. Thank you. So, hello, everybody. I would like to thank the ASIGMA. I would like to thank the Italian Trade Agency and the Italian Embassy in Egypt for organizing this seminar, this webinar, that is probably giving a good insight of all what the Italian companies can help with and provide in developing the packaging and printing industry in Egypt. My name is Nadim Elias. I am the Vice President of the Egyptian on the board of the Egyptian Chamber of Printing. Our chamber represents all sectors of the industry. So we have more than 5,000 members in our chamber. These members are coming from all the sectors of the industry, from the packaging and box printing, converters. We have 80 converters. We have 3,000 packaging and box printing companies, 20 flexible packaging companies, more than 1,000 book, textbook, and commercial printers. And then we have also pre-press services and service companies. All these companies are member in the chamber, and the chamber is part of the Egyptian Federation of Industries. The chamber represents all its members with all related governmental institutions, which means that all problems that arise to the members regarding taxation, social insurance, industrial development authority, the chamber plays a role in discussing these laws, discussing the problems that our members have, and providing the solutions for them. The chamber also keeps its members updated with new trends in the industries by organizing seminars, by making the members aware of all the printing fairs that are taking place, whether in Egypt or abroad. And it also offers, along with the IMC, who is represented today by Mrs. Tadros, and who was the previous speaker, and other institutions, we design and prepare training programs for the workforce of these members. The growth of GDP, the positive growth of GDP in Egypt, is certainly a good opportunity for Italian companies to provide their equipment and their services to the local market. But it is also a mutual benefit. So I think that with the development, with the growth of the population, of the growth of the Egyptian GDP, many Egyptian companies need technical support and need to buy new equipment in the several fields that were discussed during this webinar, and others that maybe we would like to see being discussed and presented in other webinars. My remark is that today we had the talk concerned really with flexible packaging, with the corona treatment, with some fields, especially with rotogravure and flexo. But maybe in future webinars, we can also discuss other very important fields like corrugated board, like paper production, because we also represent the paper industries, corrugated board, printing, offset printing, and other related issues to the sectors we represent. All the important issues regarding sustainability, digitization, and environmental issues are tackled by our chamber, who tries always to provide the information that will help our company get into this century of digitization, of sustainability, and also to provide them solutions for the protection of the environment. So in brief, these are the several things that the chamber does. As I told you, it represents more than 5,000 companies, and we are open to any cooperation of the Italian side to provide technical assistance, to provide information about the different fields in the industry that can be useful to the Egyptian producers. Thank you.
Grazie mille. Grazie mille, Shukran. Nadim Elias, vicepresidente della Chamber.
Well, thanks very much, Nadim Elias, Vice President of the Chamber of Printing and Packaging Industries. Let's stay in Egypt and let's hear from another representative of the printing and packaging industry. With us today, there is Al-Salamoni Ahmed Mohammed, Technical Manager at General Print.
Ha circa 10 minuti di tempo per la sua presentazione.
Welcome. So you have 10 minutes for your presentation. Salam alaikum.
10 minutes is more than enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Firstly, I want to thank everybody from IMC, and this is especially for Mr. Christine, and thank you for this invitation. But we are talking about only 2 points. I am talking about the practical man, because I am a partner, and also I am technical manager of the General Print. I am talking about we are facing 2 problems in Egypt about printing and converting industrial. 75% at least from all our machine, especially for General Print, 800%, 80%, 100% all Italy made, and 75% from all the market in Italy made. Same as Bob said, Schiskavi, Utico, Nordmechanica, Pemek, Easy Slit, and printing, lamination, slitting in our machine, all is Italy made. But we are facing some problem about maintenance support and trainer. Firstly, even when Bob said make an office of maintenance, he go to Dubai and Tunisia. Now we have more than 25 machines Bob said in Egypt, but the maintenance and the trainer for our team, we need, you must be more supported in this case, especially also in spare parts. Now no traveling, no airplane, go to Italy now, even in some cases only, but 1 year now, no traveling in Italy. How to can make spare parts in urgent time, especially in accident. Finally, I don't take more time, but please, we need supporting from maintenance and training, and also the know-how of a new application, especially in lamination, water-based, solvent-based, solventless, partial lamination, new technology also of water-based. I am talking about now we make a new plant, a very big new plant. We are talking now about solvent recovery is first, impurities. All I make water-based ink. If I use water-based ink, I don't have for solvent recovery. But Nobody can talk to us about what is the relation and the benefit of solvent recovery if I use solvent-based ink or water-based now. What is the best way for this is make now. Thank you for all, and I am sorry for if I take more time, but finally I want to make thanks for everybody, and finally thank you.
Grazie mille al Salamoni Ahmed Mohamed che
so much El Salamoni Ahmed Mohamed for sharing with us some concerns about the present situation because, of course, supplies, updates and maintenance services are made difficult by the current situation. So such workshops are very useful to look for, to ask questions and look for answers that may come from Achimga's associates after the Roadshow. So thank you so much for sharing with us these concerns. And we now move to an Egyptian brand owner to know his point of view in terms of sustainability, digitization, and for the packaging industry. So welcome Tarek Khalil, salam alaikum. He's a creative director at Abu Auf. You have the floor.
Hello everyone, thanks for having me. Abu Auf is, one of the leaders in food and beverage in Egypt. So, and we work a lot with Mr. Salamoni in a lot of high-end product packagings. So we always seeking for new printing technologies to remain the leaders in our market, because we, like in nuts and coffee, and these premium products always demand to be in good shape packaging with new technologies, like not the standards in the printings, like the usual methods of printing. So we always seeking to be the first one who use the new technologies in printings, to be the leader, like Mr. Salamoni knows about Egypt Air package. Remember that we did a lot of brainstorming to achieve certain visual of this packaging. So I learned a lot from all this information in this meeting. Thanks for that. And that's it. I'm very happy to this cooperation.
Grazie, Shukran. Thank you very much indeed. Ci spostiamo per il nostro ultimo intervento alla stampa di settore.
So let's move on to the next panelist now, and we have George Nubar, Editor-in-Chief at Arab Print Media. I hope he's with us. Welcome. Salam alaikum. Please.
Everyone. Thank you very much, of course, to first of all, Achimga, the Italian Trade Agency, the Embassy of Italy in Cairo, Italian Chamber of Commerce, everybody for this roadshow. Thank you very much. And very quickly, I will go through my slides for the time. First of all, just a quick.
لا ما الميزه بقى ايه؟ انا سماعتي فيها مايك باطن، فانا قفلت اصلا من عندي.
لا لو سمحتوا اقفلوا الصوت يا جماعه، ما يصحش، اقفلوا الصوت بعد اذنكم. So the MENA market is increasing, of course, due to many reasons: growth of population, enhancement of infrastructure, increasing the literacy rates, the better economic situation, diversity of media channels. But the main key drivers and trends is the packaging, which is increasing overall the Middle Eastern region, and the brand owners in many countries through smaller but larger in number packages. This is very important. The economic trends, we have the consumption amount per person is reflected according to the income, of course, the economic situation. But we have also demographic trends, which is very important for us. As I told you earlier, the literacy rates are very much enhancement. And in many Middle Eastern countries, the number of titles are increasing, but the number of copies per title is decreasing. This is very obvious in the last few years. The political environment, of course, there were some countries that are unstable in the Middle Eastern region. This is why, of course, the printing, publishing, and packaging industries were negatively affected. But thank God in Egypt, the situation is much better than many other countries. We have a very stable political situation. And now everything, even the economy, is growing much better. Packaging market in the MENA area is forecast to grow from 35.4 billion, it was in 2014, and this year it should be about 45.8 billion US dollars with 5% increase, and this is higher than the global packaging market growing rate. Of course, the reasons are here: the aging of the world population, the trend towards smaller households, increasing requirements for convenience among consumers, the rising of health awareness among consumers, especially these days with the COVID-19 pandemic. The trend towards the on-the-go lifestyle is increasing with many consumers that are time-poor consumers. They don't have enough time. And then growing requirements for brand enhancement, differentiation, and increasing competitiveness in the market, and new packaging material development. Even publishing is growing in the region for many reasons. Of course, population increase, as everyone told, we are more than 100 million people, and it could be like 150 by 2050 or before that even. The high birth rates, the increased food production, increased literacy rates in the region, increasing importance of education, increasing number of titles, as we said, and enhancing of the infrastructure of the region, huge amount of data available, and youth and adult fiction sales are jumping, especially in the last book fairs. We have seen that. And of course, some of the discouraged job seekers, they are returning back to school, to university. So this is increasing the publishing sector. The printing process, if we look at it very quickly, of course, sheet-fed offset is the king till now. It's about 22.3% of the total Middle Eastern print market. Heat set, offset, cold set, offset are rating about 11.7. The cold set is much more, it's about 37%, and Egypt alone is about 11.7. The gravure is about 7%, which is the roto printing. The flexo is about 11.4, and Egypt is 16% of that. Digital is increasing in the region, and the toner-based are still just the baby of the industry, 1.2. Inkjet is coming very powerfully, and many people are forecasting that this will have the fastest growing rate will be in digital printing in the coming 3 to 5 years. It could reach about 14.4 even %. If we look very quickly for the consumables, the printing inks, we see that Flexo in the region is #1 with more than 58,000 tons, or about 42.8% of the total market, followed by sheet-fed offset, 24.5 tons, and then the rotogravure with 19,400 about tons. The regional printing ink market is forecasted to increase in the coming 5 years by about 29%. The pre-press consumables also, we have the majority is CTP after 2017. Most of the countries are converting to CTP. Paper is a huge consumption, is dominated by the packaging board, 51%. Total market by weight is about 6.911 million tons. This was 2-3 years ago, followed by the uncoated wood-free and coated wood-free. And everyone is looking forward that this print substrate market will increase till 2022 with about 5.8% yearly. If we come to Egypt very quickly, the printing industry enters Egypt. Of course, we have a history of more than 6,000-7,000 years, but the printing was introduced by the French people, by Napoleon, when he came in 1801. He brought with him 3 presses. The first printing house in Egypt was Al Amireya. This year, actually, they're celebrating their 200 years old. We are always saying there were some maybe countries and nations were not existing at 1820, but this printing house is still here and it's working. It's the main government and countries' press. Egypt has its own banknote printing facility since 1967. And of course, we have many universities, institutes, and academies that are giving all kinds of training, certificates, till master's degrees and PhD degrees in the printing, publishing, and packaging industries. About the two main topics of today, digitalization and sustainability. So digitalization, we are going ahead to that in Egypt, but we have to be honest, saying that a little bit we are slow for many reasons. First of all, the high investment. Not everyone can do that very quickly. And in Egypt, we have low-cost labor still, and unemployment rates, we want always to decrease them. And in the last few years, although we have this pandemic, but still the numbers are decreasing. And this is why people will be a little bit slow in adapting all kinds of automation and digitalization. Sustainability is very important in the printing and packaging industry in Egypt. And we are one of the maybe very few countries in the world that we have a special ministry for environment. This shows our commitment as government, as country, as industry to the sustainability and to the environment. And now everywhere we are talking about the 3 R's: reduce, recycle, and reuse. In Egypt, we've come to Egypt alone, sheet-fed litho offset is the main market share with 58%, followed by flexo 20% market share. Gravure and screen together are 15%, and digital printing is about only 7%. But we have seen every day still that flexo and digital are growing, while gravure and screen are a little decreasing. But gravure is becoming very active in the cigarette printing and, of course, the packaging. But still, it's not growing like flexo and digital. And letterpress is less than 1.5% of the market share. The ink amount of litho offset consumed yearly are about 8,000 tons per year. Sheet-fed alone is 5,000. The web offset market, approximately 10% of the market with 850 tons. The newspaper, still we have a huge amount of newspapers, decreasing, of course. We used to have like 6 million, 7 million copies per day. Now it's less than 1 million copies per day because we have so many electronic newspapers as everywhere in the world. Digital printing is becoming the main subject in the last few years in Egypt. And we have so many companies like Xerox, Zycon are leading the market by time, but Xerox is the dominant market share, about 60 to 70%. Then we have Canon, Kodak, Konica, Minolta, and Ricoh, are playing very important roles. The Egyptian commercial digital printing market is completely dominated by toner till now. Inkjet is just starting to enter the market. The market-wise, which was not so precise, but it's about, as you see, 500 million color pages per year, 1.2 billion statements, invoices per year. We are going to, most of the banks and institutions are going to e-invoicing and e-billing, but still we have, and 1.5 billion black and white pages per year. We have in the large format, we have about 7 million square meters, and it's estimated to become 10 to 12 million square meters by the end of this year or next year. 50% are banners, 35 flex, 10% vinyl, and 5% are others. The 80%, the majority sizes of the large format are 1.8 to 3 meters in the Egyptian market. Of course, no doubt that the flotation of the Egyptian pound on the 3rd of November 2016 had negatively affected the industry, but increasing the cost of and prices of all the imported materials, or paper prices even were doubled. But although investing in new machinery was a real challenge for this flotation or after that flotation, and many printers and converters were carefully watching the situation, but very, very good news for us that just in 2020, we had seen many serious investments, especially in the field of packaging machinery. Amazing the amount of machinery people are invested in the last 10 to 11 months, although we have this pandemic. The printing products applications, we have, of course, Still, we have books, we have school books, magazines, newspapers, advertising, catalogs, directories, commercial printing. Security is becoming very important in packaging for brand protection. We have 5 special printing presses for security products, including some mainly government ones. Transactional printing is still increasing in Egypt, but by time I think the e-billing and e-invoice will be replacing that. Packaging is the enormous thing. The rate is more than 18% yearly. The last few, the 2-3 slides are just the market share to see that sheet-fed offset is 13%. The cold set web offset litho is about 40%. Flexo 21%. In the 5 years forecast, as you've seen, the sheet-fed offset is still there. The gravure is there. The Flexo will be 29%. Electrophotography is increasing, inkjet, but screen and letterpress will be decreasing. Printing products, these are very quick examples in tons. The books are still there, magazines, newspapers, and of course, you will see packaging at the end, enormous amount of packaging we have. You can imagine with 100 million people. The last slide is the market share for the substrates. And these figures, we have done so many market research with even Smith or Pyra through our university, through our chamber. And these are the figures we have. So you will see again, the packaging board is #1 there. Thank you very much. Of course, I tried to be very quick for the time. Thank you again for all the Italian companies, the Italian institutions, in considering Egypt. This is a great honor for us, and we are very happy. And I had the honor and pleasure to visit Print for All with Achimga and with all the companies in Italy. We attended, we learned a lot. And as everybody said, we'll be more than happy and honored to cooperate in all aspects, because of course, Italy is one of the main partners for our Egyptian printing and packaging industry. Thank you for everything. Thanks.
Grazie, thank you. Shukran, Mr. Nubar. George Nubar, editor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nubar, the editor-in-chief of Arab Print Media, closing our day, providing so much data about the Egyptian market, the printing market, and also the packaging market and converting market. At the end of this webinar, we are a little bit behind schedule. I want to give the floor back to Andrea Brigandi, Achimga's General Manager, for the final greetings and words. Thank you, Matteo, and I want to thank all the attendees and our Egyptian guests. It was very, very interesting. We've been provided with interesting information about trends, about the Egyptian market. Again, very interesting for our Italian companies. We hope that this is just one step, one phase in our collaboration with the Egyptian market. As the latest panelist said, we will be Print for All next year. So I look forward to that conference in 2021. Of course, you will be provided with information in due time after the official launch, so we will meet you hopefully in 2022. Again, we are available for cooperating with you, and goodbye. Thank you so much. Let me thank again all the attendees, and we want very much to increase cooperation with all Mediterranean countries. And so on the 16th at 11 a.m. we're going to have our last leg of the Roadshow in Algeria. Thank you so much. Goodbye.